Hey guys, welcome to The Bite. My name is Jackie. Today I'm sharing with you another soup because you know I love my soups and it is soup season. So today I'm sharing with you mushroom wild rice soup, or like a veggie wild rice soup. It's really simple, not many required ingredients, but it comes together very seamlessly and it's very hearty for this time of year. My daughter actually happens to love this soup as well. Let me show you what you'll need. Okay, so here are all the veggies. I like to use the magic trio of carrots, onions, and celery, a little bit of garlic, and some mushrooms. I just feel like it gives it that meatier texture. Some veggie broth. I have my wild rice, a little bit of butter, some salt and pepper, some poultry seasoning, and a little bit of flour, and this just kind of helps to thicken the soup and make it nice and rich and creamy. You can always omit it, but I find that it was a little bit too runny when I was testing the recipe. So I think a little bit of flour and cooking it at the right amount of time will give it the perfect consistency. And again, all the ingredients and directions are always on my blog. You can find that in the description box down below. It's the first link. We're also going to be finishing this off with a little bit of heavy cream. Now, if you wanted to make this completely vegan, you could totally do that by, instead of using butter, you can use olive oil, and you can omit the heavy cream altogether because it'll still become a little bit creamy from the rice and from the flour. So let's head to the stove and start cooking. So I have my soup pot on medium heat, and I'm just going to add my butter straight to it, and right away it'll start to melt. And I'm just gonna go ahead, my pan is already hot, so I'm just gonna go right in and add all my veggies. And you know, everything good starts with butter, carrots, onions, and celery. I mean, you can never go wrong with that trio. And the mushrooms with the butter is always delicious also. So why not combine them into one big pot? And this just screams fall to me. So I just want to mix this all up, let the onions get translucent and soft. My husband likes when I use that word, translucent. So you just want all the veggies to kind of soften a bit, and then we'll add in the spices and the flour. And also, while it's beginning to cook like this, I also want to add a little bit of salt and pepper. The salt, you don't want to add too much because you're going to be adding some vegetable broth, and that usually has a lot of seasoning. I don't know why I can't seem to find low sodium vegetable broth. So if you happen to be like me, then just lightly season these veggies at this stage because the veggie broth will have a lot of seasoning as well. And then once we add the liquid, then we can add the rice. The veggies are looking good. They're starting to release their juices. Come take a look at what this pot looks like right now. Does that not look heavenly? It's smelling like fall in here, guys. Alrighty, so now we're going to add the poultry seasoning and the flour. So the poultry seasoning, a lot of people use it during this time of year, the fall and the winter time, but I actually use it year round. And it's really just a mixture of like rosemary and sage and thyme, and I think it goes really well with not just poultry but a lot of other things, even like mashed potatoes. I really like it in my mashed potatoes. But yep, I'm just gonna sprinkle that right in here, give that a mix, and then we'll add in the broth. I just want to get the flour going right now because if you add it in when there's a lot of liquid, it'll clump up and it won't have the same effect. So adding it in now is perfect. It's already starting to thicken up those juices at the bottom of the pot. And now I'm gonna add in, let me just mix this up real quick. This is just all the veggie broth. And I'm kind of using like the bouillon, not the bouillon cubes, but like the paste, I guess, if you will. So that is the broth that I'm using. Just going to add that all right in. And I want to stir this from the bottom really quickly. And I'm pretty much going to add in my wild rice right away because if there were meat in here, I would let it sit a little bit longer, but because it's all veggies, I don't have to worry about that. It's gonna take a little bit of time to cook. I need it to come to a boil and simmer. My wild rice takes about 40 minutes. You wanna look at the package directions on your wild rice because each one is gonna be different. What I would suggest is get one without seasoning because the ones with seasoning really do have a lot of salt in them. And I like to be able to control the amount of salt that I have in my food. So if you can find one without seasoning, get that one. And again, just base the cooking time on the package instructions of the wild rice. So I'm gonna let this come to a boil, then I'll lower it to a simmer, let it cook for about 40 minutes or until the rice is tender, and then we'll turn off the heat and add in the heavy cream, and that's it. The soup is done, the rice has fully cooked, and it is looking perfect, exactly to my liking. Just slightly thick enough, but you can see that the ratio is beautiful between all the veggies, the rice, and the creamy broth that it is swimming in. So I'm gonna shut the heat off. Pregnancy brain, okay? It's a real thing. Now I'm going to add in my heavy cream, and I like to just do it off the heat so that nothing curdles. So you don't have to add this in, like I said in the beginning, but to me, I mean, just look at it. It's almost like you can see everything a little bit better. I'm salivating. I'm gonna take this baby to the stove, not to the stove, to the table, and we're gonna eat, or I'm gonna eat. Listen, it's late and Mama's ready, so let's go. All right, this is looking absolutely beautiful. Just look at all the colors. I mean, it looks like one big bowl of comfort. Me and my girl Nadia are gonna dive right into this baby. Well, she's gonna have it tomorrow because it's late, she's sleeping. So this is gonna be her lunch, and she will be so excited to see soup on her table. Okay, look at this, just look at that. I mean, like, does that not scream fall? To me it does. To me it screams any time of year, but you know, soup season. All right, I'm going in. It's hot, give me a minute. Just one big bowl of comfort, and I love that it's filled with veggies, filled with that nutty bite from the wild rice, and I really love that it's different colors too. So you just get little speckles of everything. It's just perfect. I just quickly want to show you the bouillon paste that I mentioned. So I like using this because one, my mom kind of introduced me to this years and years ago, but I think that this is a really good way if you're like me and you can't get your hands on low sodium vegetable broth in particular. This is a good way to kind of control the sodium yourself. So I used 6 cups of liquid of water, and instead of using 6 teaspoons, which is what this recommends, I actually used 4. So it's kind of like using a low sodium broth, and I was able to control the amount of salt myself. So that's a little tip. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. The ingredients and the directions are on my blog as always. It's the very first link in the description box down below. I hope you give this a try, and don't forget to share with me on Instagram because I love seeing your recreations and sharing them on my stories. So thank you guys, and we will see you next time on The Bite.